inkproducts.com will now release refillable cartridges for the new Canon 6320, 5420, MX922 and the IP7220. Now the cartridges have a clone chip on it. They're called one-time chips. Very simple to fill, and you can fill them over and over again. We're going to show you how to turn off the ink monitor, so you just can keep filling them. They're clear. They're a lot easier to fill than the original Canons, and they'll definitely hold a lot more ink. Now I always make myself a little station like this, a little old box, and I cut it out so my ink bottle will fit in there, so I don't have to knock it over like that. So get yourself an old box, some paper towels, maybe some rubber gloves if you don't want to get a little ink on your fingers. And now I'm going to show you how to fill this. And now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a magic marker and I'm going to mark the bottom of the orange clip. That would be yellow. Always do this way. When you put them on, you get the correct one to go on, so you don't cross-contaminate any colors. This is black. Of course, this would be magenta. And you can just go along and mark them all that way. Now when I take the clip off and I've got to put the cartridge back on, I know which one goes on where. Now, in the kit, you're going to get a syringe. Now, sometimes they'll say on them, discard after use. Don't do that, and don't wash them out. There's no need to do that. These are veterinarian syringes, and you're not dealing with blood, so you don't have to worry about discarding them. Now, the needle's going to be blunt, and there's a fill plug here. Now, this is the first time you fill them. I'm going to actually start to fill them through the air vent hole. Then, from then on, I'll always fill them through the fill hole of the cartridge. Open up the ink. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to fill up the syringe. Now there you want to have a little paper towel handy so you don't drip ink. So let me get one. Okay, now I got a paper towel. Now there's a little vent hole in the front that has to remain open. So I'm going to push the tip of the steel tip down into the cartridge, and then I'm going to slowly fill it. You only have to do this the first time, or if you desaturate the fill material. Okay, and I can put a little bit more in. Now the next time I go to fill, I'm not going to have to do this. The only time I have to do that is if I accidentally run the cartridge completely empty. Now you see a little bubbling out, then you stop. And you can wipe that off. Now we'll go to the other chamber. Start to fill that up. It'll bubble out. Now I'm going to let that sit the first time about 10 minutes. So don't be in a rush, just give it time. That's because we want some of the ink to seep into the supply chamber. We'll call the exit port chamber. The supply chamber, exit port chamber. That's how you fill it. Ink you don't use, return back into the bottle and close it. Now see how nice that did, that little old box that we use right here. You know, just cut it out, then you're not going to accidentally knock it over and it frees up both of your hands. Okay. Still going in a little bit. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I can put the rubber plug in. That's how easy it was to fill the Easy Fill cartridges. I'll explain what the clone chip is going to do in a minute. I'm going to get you a Canon cartridge so you can see the difference. Now when filling the Canon cartridges, there's a little BB under the label. You knock it in, you fill it up, we give you a little type of set screw to go in there. You can fill them, but you can't see what's inside, so you never know how much is in there. When you have a clear cartridge, when it gets down to about 1/8 from the bottom, you want to take it out and fill it. Never let them go empty, because if it does, it'll shut the chip down. Now eventually that chip goes down, so it shows a big red X. Then what you do is you have to shut off the ink monitor for that color. So you won't see that ink monitor anymore unless you put a new cartridge in. But this way you can visually see what you have and just go along. At this time, it's the only way to do it. You have two choices, fill these or fill these. That's your two choices for Canon's new printer. And I'm going to show you the new printer and how to shut off the ink monitor. Here's one of our test printers. This is the MG6320. It's a brand new printer. And I've got cartridges in there now. And by the way, I mixed our cartridges with the Canon cartridges. Let me turn it on. So let me open it up. Let's cartridge come over. Okay, now the cartridges come over. This is a Canon cartridge. These are all refillables. Now the yellow, because I've been running solid yellow, is showing that it needs to be replaced. Got quite a bit of yellow left, but you wait till you see the X, then you're going to shut off the ink monitor. Close it up. Now let me see if I can get to show you the ink monitor. Taking a second, checking the cartridges, then I'm going to go over maintenance and show you the ink level. Now, go over, set up, display current ink level. If you notice, I've already got, let me see if I can get a better shot here. I've already got the X on yellow. So pretty soon it's going to shut me down and tell me that I have to replace that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to shut off that particular ink color. You're going to do all 6 of them in this case. Some of the printers have 5. And then you're just going to keep refilling the cartridge and putting it in. Now, on our deluxe kit, we give you 1 set. On our ultimate refill kit, we give you 2 sets. That's because if you're in the rush, you just put the cartridge in and fill the other one later on. So now I'm going to put in the scanner here a solid sheet of yellow and see if we can have this coat out. Now, if you notice with the Canons and a lot of the Epsons, they don't hold a lot of paper in the paper tray. So these are not production printers. These are great home use printers, that's about it. So I'm going to load it with some scrap paper that we have. We're going to run solid yellow, and then we're going to have it coat out that it's out of ink. Then I'm going to show you how to shut off the ink monitor. This is what you have to do at this time. Maybe later on down the road we'll have a chip resetter or a COC chip, but at this time this is the only way you're going to be able to save any money on the Canons. I doubt there'll ever be a continuous ink system because there's no room. We've tried over and over again to try to get hoses in there, and it's just not possible at this time. So let me fill it with paper and then run the test. Now, whenever we print on the Canons, we always said plain paper but on high quality. I find that it actually cleans less, the quality's a lot better, and I don't waste ink. So a lot of people think, well, I'll just run it in draft. Well, actually, you'll probably use up more ink because this printer wants to clean just about every time you use it. So now I set it for 10 solid yellow. Let them come out. So I'm close to coating out. As long as you keep ink in the cartridge, you'll never have any issues with your print head. Now this is a special formulated ink, just like Canon, because these particular types of ink now, they have to be right within the range for the print head not to clog. So if you use the wrong ink, print head's clogged. Okay, now it's starting up, it's doing its cleaning, getting ready to print. That's why I said if you run this printer high all the time, plain paper, whatever, photo, that doesn't matter. You'll use less ink. But if you run it in normal or draft, you're actually going to use more ink. This MG6320, it's a good printer, but it has some drawbacks. Very small paper tray, doesn't hold a lot of paper. Cartridges from Canon are also, very little ink in them, so that's why the refillables work really good. Plus, if you have two sets, you're just swapping them in and out. Now you can see I have it on the screen. You can see the red X. It's going to tell me that that cartridge is just about empty, and it's going to shut me down and won't let me continue to print. That's when we're going to go over to the printer, and we're going to shut off the yellow ink monitor. Then you're going to do the magenta. Whenever one comes up, that's what you got to shut off. Now, it'll always come back on again if you put a brand new cartridge with a brand new chip. But if you're refilling, you don't really care about what's on the screen. It's what's in the cartridge that's important. Okay, now it comes out the yellow. Now, I set it for 10. If we get through the 10 before it codes out, I'll be surprised. That's a lot of ink coverage there, a lot. So we'll let it run, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it codes out. Okay, now it's saying right there, the remaining ink level cannot be detected. Replace the yellow. If you notice over here, you have the stop, and then you have the little warning triangle. So now I'm going to hold down the stop button, continue to hold it down, and when it goes out, then I'm going to go over here. Now it's going to allow me to print. Okay, now you can see, I pulled it up on the screen, it shut the yellow down now. Now I don't see any yellow there. So now I'm going to be able to print. Now you're going to do that for all the colors. And then you're just going to watch your ink levels in the cartridge. Don't let them run out. And you'll just be able to keep printing along. Once you shut off the ink monitor for that color, you can swap cartridges back and forth even if both of the chips show empty. Just printed this out. That's how easy it was to do it.